biggest component to being a successful franchisor is being able to provide an opportunity for feedback from the field and taking that feedback and implementing the great ideas across the system. So a lot of times franchisors have the misconception that this is their brand and that this is a unilateral, you're going to do as we say, this is the playbook, you follow it. And so the best relationships are usually a 360-degree loop of continuous improvement. And you can't really improve unless you solicit input from the field and take the best ideas, test them out, and then implement them across the system. Probably the biggest challenge that I faced was when I was an attorney working for Cold Stone Creamery. I was one of their in-house associate counsels, and what would happen is the operations team would turn over franchisees who they believe they exhausted all resources to help them succeed in the system. And so my job was to figure out a graceful way for them to exit out of the system. And so I talked to a number of disgruntled franchisees who were just not buying into the vision and where we were headed. And some underlying themes came about where, a lot of the issues came in the sales process. So even before they came on board, they weren't aligned properly with the expectations on, how a Cold Stone should be run. Or they were told that this was more of a passive business or investment. And so what I learned early on is that there needs to be an alignment of vision before somebody comes on board, and you got to have the tough conversations before they become a franchisee because it's a lot more difficult afterwards. Yeah, I think the biggest misconception is that this is an easy route to go down, and not every brand can be successful as a franchise. There's just, you have to have the DNA to release and let go of the brand and bring on really talented franchisees who will help build the systems and processes. So if you're an entrepreneur and you take the mentality of this is my way or the highway, this franchise is probably not the right route for you. So you really have to understand what you're good at. And if you're good at managing employees and managing a team, then franchising is probably, not for you. If you really want to focus on branding and painting a vision, then maybe franchising is the right route for you. You just need to know what you like and don't like, and a lot of times people get into franchising because they think it's an easy way of leveraging their business. I think the biggest thing that a franchisee should know is who the executive team is. How are they financially able to commit to expansion? So are there investors like private equity behind the franchisor? And then lastly, really get to know the franchisees who have come into the system. A lot of times you are going to find great resources from your peers, your other franchisees. So those three levels of knowing, who the private equity is, who the executive team is, and who your fellow franchisees are, make all the difference in the world before you commit, because you just want to make sure that you're aligned with them philosophically. I would probably tell myself that, this is a long journey and that there's going to be ups and downs, but every down gives you more valuable lessons. So to get back to the ups in the world, And probably the other side of it is really just enjoy the ride. Because I think in franchising, you really get the opportunity to support other people's dreams and visions. And meeting all of the franchisees that I've ever interacted with, whether it was Cold Stone, Fun Brands, or Dry Bar, or Heyday, they've become really lifelong friends for me.